welcome to Spin That Back. This is Rick.
Merrick.
And this is our review of The Hateful Eight, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. We got to see it in the special roadshow engagement presented in 70 millimeter. So if it's playing in your city, definitely go watch it. That's the format I recommend. That's the way he filmed it. That's the way he intended it to be watched. So if it's playing near you, definitely check it out. Kurt Russell playing, what was his name? The Hangman. He's transporting Jennifer Jason Leigh's character to the city called Red Rock. And along the way, they end up at this little spot called Minnie's Haberdashery. And there they run into the Hateful Eight. I guess all the 8 people.
They become the Hateful Eight.
Yeah, the basic premise from what I heard Quentin Tarantino came up with is like he just took it from old Western TV shows, and how there would always be like that one mysterious character that would come into town, and the townspeople wouldn't know who he was or where he came from or what his history was, and little by little it starts getting revealed. So he just took that idea and said, what if I made a movie with just a whole bunch of people like that, where they all show up at one place and nobody knows who the other one is, and they're all suspicious of one another. And without giving too much away, that's the jumping off point.
He's one of the few artists, directors that stands out as like a true, in my mind, like a true artist. Just like he has the way that he films and directs his movies and his dialogue, makes everything his own. And this movie definitely stands out. I think is like one of his, in more recent memory, I think one of his better ones. The dialogue is amazing because that's basically what he's limited to, because it all takes place, for at least like 90 to 95% of the movie takes place in the cabin.
It's like Reservoir Dogs on crack.
Yeah, basically. So he's very limited to just dialogue, and I mean this has to carry like a 3-hour movie. Yeah. And for the most part, it's just characters going back and forth. And I think everyone in this movie was great. Like everyone did play their part. I mean, we had
there really weren't any weak performances.
Nah, there weren't any weak performances. Like we get. I mean, I guess the standout performance would have to be. Surprisingly, well, Sam Jackson kind of had an idea, but Walton Goggins, he actually surprised, I think, most people, because we didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised he gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
He was great in this fucking movie, man.
Actually, at that point, I think this is probably the best Sam Jackson has been in a movie that I've seen him in a really long time.
Yeah, he was
really dope in this movie.
But we still start seeing everyone little by little, kind of start learning more about who they are and who they might be. In alliance with someone else, or they might be lying about who they really are, or that's the fun part about this movie. You kind of you find things out as the characters find things out in the movie, and they kind of start questioning, like, wait, what motives does this person have? Or
it's like a big mind fuck that they're playing with one another.
The way that Quentin Tarantino portrays the violence in his films, he portrays them in a very artistic way. And it escalates to that point, like towards the end, where I mean, it gets bloody and there's like a bunch of crazy shit going on.
If you watch it in 70 millimeter with the overture, there's an intermission in between, so you actually get, I think it's like 6 extra minutes if you watch the roadshow engagement. But yeah, there's an intermission, and so the first half, I don't know if it's that right at the midway point, but the first half he's setting up all these pieces. And there's actually like a chessboard in between them. I don't know if you noticed that. So I think that was kind of like a metaphor for him setting up these chess pieces in the first half of the movie. And then after the intermission is like when you see all the pieces that he set up, like they all start getting knocked down. Like everybody, like all the things start playing out. Like you find out who's who and what's what. And I just thought he did it beautifully. I mean, like he said, this is a 3-hour movie, and to me, it didn't feel like 3 hours. I mean, like the dialogue was snappy. I mean,
the shit that this dude's funny. Like the way he writes his dialogue. Because there's actually like a lot. There was actually a couple parts where I was laughing hard. Some of the shit that happens and the shit that they talk to each other, like it just plays really well, and just the back and forth between everyone really. If anything, I think maybe Michael Madsen was maybe a little underutilized, but even then, like he has some really great lines in it, and the back and forth between him and whoever it is that he was talking to. I think Sam Jackson's really the one that kind of carries it for the most part. Yeah. Maybe at least the first half, but definitely in the second half of them. Well, and also Kurt Russell. Him and Kurt Russell, they kind of carry it for the most part, like the first half maybe. But then when you get to the second half, that's kind of like when we start seeing everyone else kind of come into play. Yeah. And it just escalates, leading towards the very end.
Yeah, so it's a lot of tension built up until, that beginning of that third act comes in. My eyes did not want to leave the screen. Like, every little thing, like, you're putting the puzzle pieces together. You see, like, you're paying attention to every little detail, trying to find out if you can get more backstory on these guys, who they are.
What he's able to do, his directing and his writing it's amazing. Like, you can't praise this guy enough for what he's able to do. And this movie was a shit. Like, it had a big cast and everyone played their part. Everyone was great in it.
Yeah, and the 70mm looks fucking awesome. Even though it's weird because a lot of it takes place indoors, but the outdoor shots, I mean, it looks incredible if you get a chance to watch it. So I highly recommend it. And also Ennio Morricone's score.
The score was great.
It was fucking awesome. Yeah. He hadn't done a movie in, like, I think by 40 years. I think something like that. He hadn't scored a movie.
Been that long?
Something like that. Yeah, and I mean, the overture at the beginning I thought was fucking awesome. I mean, just the music overall I thought was fucking excellent. So Quentin's done it again.
I mean, I think this is another great movie by him. Yeah, the guy hasn't let us down, and I mean, hopefully, if he does only do 10 movies, I mean, he's on path to make 10 great movies. I mean, with the exception of maybe one, but I mean, up to this point, like, he hasn't really disappointed. So I give it a
motherfucking tizzy.
I mean, anything by him, if I see his name on it, like, I have to go watch it. The guy hasn't let me down yet, and I mean, doesn't really show any signs of slowing down. I mean, if anything, this is maybe the best dialogue he's had in a movie of his. I mean, it's kind of hard to even compare. I mean, maybe Pulp Fiction, but I don't know. Maybe that's like maybe giving it too much praise just because it's so fresh in my mind.
Yeah, it's fresh.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that it takes place all in one location for 3 hours and it didn't drag for me at all. I mean, that's a credit to his writing and his directing skills. So Quentin, you've done it again, and I give it
motherfucking tizzy.
I'm gonna have a spoiler talk. We'll link to that down below. So come back and join us, because there actually is one thing that we kind of really wanted to touch on, because there is a flashback at some point in the movie, but we can't really talk too much about it without giving it away. So that and some other stuff. So hit that thumbs up button. Hopefully you guys get a chance to catch this in 70mm, by the way. So like, subscribe, share, and we'll catch you on the next one.